Hi, my name is Al Green. Not that one, but the struggling guy who was in the music industry for years trying to sell talent and songs to agents. The agents befriended me and taught me techniques that I want to pass on to you through my program, which is called You Can Talk, You Can Sell. Anyone who has ever taken this program has excelled in selling and either risen to the top of their company, their team, or the top of their field. It's called You Can Talk, You Can Sell, and you can get it right here. If you're still floundering and you're down in the dumps when it comes to your sales, and you want to get back up on top or just climb the ladder for the very first time, what you want to do is pay attention to the following. I had a memory come back to me. You know how those happen, where you're sitting there doing nothing, all of a sudden a flash comes back to you. Years and years ago, when I was in the music industry, I was invited to a very formal dinner party for a noted film composer. He was basically a gentleman in his 40s, and he was an accomplished musician and an accomplished songwriter and also film composer, having won Academy Awards. While I was sitting at the dinner, I was seated next to an older gentleman. This guy must have been 80 years old if he was a day. Now think about this. I was younger. I had just come out of 10 years of being in sales, and I was sitting there learning how to motivate my products into the music industry, and I'm invited to this party. So I'm sitting there talking to this older man, and I asked him, I said, so how do you know, and I named the mention of the composer, let's call him Peter. I said, how do you know Peter? And he said, I'm his piano teacher. And I looked at this guy. He was old. And I said, okay, that's really nice that after all these years you decided to stay in touch with him and show up at his party. And he goes, what do you mean all these years? I said, well, did you teach him from the beginning when he was a kid? Did you stay with him as a teenager or what? He goes, no, I'm his current piano teacher. Now I'm looking at this guy and I'm thinking, okay, here we got this guy who's 80 years old, and he is now teaching this composer techniques on the piano. And I thought, my God, this guy's been playing for his whole life. How could he need piano lessons? And the guy basically said, well, he studies with me and he does recitals, and he's a good student and he practices every day. And I said, okay. So I went to Peter afterwards. I called him up and I said, can you tell me why a guy with years and years of experience performing with symphony orchestras and being a film composer, why would you be taking piano lessons? And he said, Al, it's like this. It's very simple. He goes, you never stop learning. I said, you got to be kidding. Of course you don't stop learning. He said, no. I'm still picking up techniques that I never employed when I was younger, things that I missed. So I have an expert that I pay to keep me in line, and constantly I'm learning. Now the lesson there is you always have to be learning. No matter what you do, you don't know everything. We don't know everything. I don't know everything. Believe it or not, I have my coaches, and I'm an older guy, but I have many younger people that I coach, and they come to me for things that basically they wouldn't be able to figure out for themselves unless maybe by trial and error. But when I introduce them to ideas, things that I will do in my workshop, the six-figure selling system, I show people how to maximize their sales using techniques that are never, ever taught anywhere that I've ever found. And when I talked to this older gentleman, and I went back to another party and ran into him, and I started talking to him, and I said, where do you have these recitals? And he told me, and I said, and you bring Peter out? He goes, yeah, I go, so is Peter your star pupil? He goes, absolutely not. He goes, I got people that can play circles around him. I said, you got to be kidding. So I went to Peter and he goes, oh yeah, there's guys there, piano students, that make me look like I'm playing with all thumbs. And I was like, wow, look at this. There's a lesson here. Now, when this memory came back to me the other day, I thought, here we are. Here is you. Here is me. I'm still learning. I'm studying. I'm reading books as much as I can. I read books and I pick up new ideas and I want to share them with you. I want to share with you because it was the older people that shared with me and taught me the techniques that I would never have been able to employ myself, because as creative as I think I am, I wasn't that creative. So I found techniques that actually work. And those are techniques. If you join my workshop, the six-figure selling system, and you decide that you want to employ and implement everything that you can learn from this workshop, you too will have a new career. It'll feel like you just started a whole new career. And I know because I've seen that happen to many, many people. So when we get into a whole situation where we're in a new environment and we got to wing it, but we're not really winging it if we know what we're doing. So the concept is this, is that when you are listening and you're paying attention and you're writing down, taking notes, and you're paying attention to just the foundation, then we go through that foundation and we start adding in the techniques that only the masters use. And what's amazing is when the masters use these techniques, you don't realize these are techniques that they're using. What you find out later is that they are techniques. Instead, it's just people talking. So my book, forthcoming, is called You Can Talk, You Can Sell. The other day, I went to a doctor and I was talking to the nurse there that was telling me about this special cream I could use for my skin. And she uses it for ladies. And within 2 minutes of her showing me her before and after picture, pointing to her skin, showing me what the advertisement said, and this tube of cream is $60. And I was ready to throw down my money right away. Now, why was she selling me on this? She said it would be good for me. And then as I was talking to her, she said, I'm not a salesperson. I just think everybody should have this product. And I looked at her, I said, you are a salesperson because you're talking and you're talking about your product. She didn't even ask me, do you want to buy a tube? Do you want to try it? All she did was talk about it and talked about the results. She never did any closing, anything. Now, at $60 a tube, and she sells about 30 tubes a week, she makes a pretty good commission, not bad for somebody that's only doing this a couple hours a day throughout her working day because she's working at a doctor's office. But look at that. All she did was talk. And it goes like this. If you can talk, you can sell. And since you can talk, you can communicate. And communication has techniques to it. Techniques that belong to the successful people. It's not about what you're selling. It doesn't matter how old you are, what ethnicity you are, or if you're even in the United States. You can do this if you're in any of the countries that speak English, or even in your own language, because we can get translators for you to learn the lesson. But the bottom line is this. Do you want to continue struggling and making yourself wonder if you're in the right position when you can learn techniques that are so simple that it's, like I said this is not a boot camp. This is nothing more than techniques of practicing and implementation. And if you can talk, you can sell. So my program is called the Six-Figure Selling System. My name is Al Green, and I will look forward to seeing you join me. The Six-Figure Selling System at sixfiguresellingssystem.com. That's the number 6, not the word 6 spelled out. I will look forward to seeing you there. Thank you.